Okay, hello, this is Pigsy doing another video. Quick switch of gears. Yeah, just a concern really, what's been going on lately. I've noticed that some nights the sun's been about until about 10 o'clock at night. It literally hasn't set properly, and it's been cloudy, and you can still see the sun setting. Well, normally it'd be down ages ago, which is really weird. Especially you sort of look along and you're looking for stars or whatever, and you still see it's fairly light. Makes you wonder what's going on. And I think the issue, the concern as well is that, I mean, I don't know, but if you're suffering the same, but a lot of people are waking up earlier. They find themselves waking up at 5, and the issue that's been happening. Yeah, the issue that's been happening is basically it's a lot lighter, and 5 o'clock feels like the new 7 o'clock, to be honest. That's nice, just block me in. Leave it all day. It's only because I'm stuck there, mate, that's why I have to do that. I know, it takes some people off sometimes when you're driving. So yeah, so basically, as mentioned, so I'd be waking up at about 5:30. I woke up at 5 and I was like, oh, what time is it? It must be nearly 7, and it's not. So I've had to just get back to sleep and then just get myself to try to sleep in, because the body, it just seems to be, well, I seem to be quite active. I think there's a lot more energy being boomed out anyway. I'm hearing hearing kind of something. It's probably to do with the coronal hole or something. I'll come on to some other stuff as well in a bit, but I do notice when I sort of like 7 o'clock, I was looking at where the sun is in position in the sky, and it's, it's pretty much like it was where it'd be at 9 o'clock. It's obviously a good so many hours into the sunrise, so that's really weird. And I'm also thinking, yeah, maybe the time zones are slightly off. Maybe we are further down towards the equator. It's warmer weather, but it's a bit too early to make sort of suggestions that the planet's tilted into a pole shift slightly. It may be just that the orbit's changed slightly. Maybe it's got a narrower orbit. I mean, if you've got a planet like your planet X, you've got a lot of magnetic energy coming out of the planet. I mean, out of the sun. They say that the coronal hole is like where the missing is something's been blown off the sun, but it's not. It's also I've seen these objects to the rear of the sun, and I've concluded that they're likely to be asteroids. So there's a good chance they've been beating the hell out of the sun rather than causing a bit of disruptions. The idea we get taught as a kid is that the sun's so hot that it melts everything, when it actually doesn't. It produces a lot of light, and it's things where there's resistance between materials that generates it. So it's like when it hits the atmosphere, it superheats it up, and so sort of warms up our environment. But the distance between it travelling through space, it wasn't hot at all. Otherwise, it would lose energy, because space doesn't have. Well, to be honest, it doesn't. There's this idea that it's cold. It's probably just some sort of, that's just a neutral state, to be honest. So yeah, so that's why space is the way it is. It's a bit confusing what space is and how it relates to us, this dimension. I was going to say, so this morning I heard this morning I heard a lot of sort of noise. So I had like the tinnitus stuff, or tinnitus, or ringing in the ears actually. I'd be looking at different ways to treat it, see if there's a way to improve it. However, I do think it's just like some information being fed straight into my cortex via my bloody ear, and I could also hear this whoom whoom noise in my eardrum. So that's like the fluid, the sort of the is it barium fluid is in the ear. But it's yeah. So basically, that's really to do with your balance. I wasn't suffering from vertigo. I was just feeling a type of vibrational energy, and so that was weird. And then I also something else. If you have got interdimensional beings that visit you in your flat, you'll hear noises. They bloody fiddle around with jam jars and all sorts of things. They want to know why they are the way they are and stuff like that. So they're quite interested in human culture. And what you also, I have is like this metal tin, and it's like a biscuit tin, but it's got no lid on it, right? So there's no reason for it to make any kind of noise at all, and it isn't bent out of shape or anything, but it made a sort of bong-like noise, like it was being pushed out of shape. And I haven't touched it for about a day or two. There's no reason, unless it's affected by the sun as well, or this sort of energy that's been boosted out. But it's likely that something was actually warped on it, and its energy has distorted it in some way that it caused it to make a noise. So these interdimensional beings do actually have some density. It's just at a different frequency. You can catch them out if you've got several mirrors. See, mirrors end up reflecting light, so it can end up increasing the density of the beings. Because I've noticed where I've seen them in my flat, it's been where I've got two mirrors that cross. So when they hit that cross without realising it, they've made themselves more susceptible to being seen. So that's what's been going on here. Right, just get my position. So yeah, so a lot more of this sort of ET type contact is occurring. Just sort of, you need to be a bit more aware of it. Just meditate and make contact that way. There's plenty of different beings. There's even a spider race being actually been in contact with. I was using a Rife machine, and it's one of those spooky 2 things, and I put DNA samples from different creatures in it as well with mine to create some type of connection, or even that I can heal from their own DNA, which it has actually. It has made me feel a bit better. I used spider DNA and some crow DNA yesterday in my mixture of things. So anyway, I was in contact with this being, the spider being, arachnite, I call it. And then the next day there was a web coming down from a wall fan, ceiling fan I should say, and basically it had this this little, looked like a cocoon or something on the end of it, but it was just hanging down randomly. It seemed so weird that it was next to the chair I was thinking about these things I was talking about these beings about, and there's almost like a little gift there, because it's at head height. It's got this little green thing, it's like green cocoon, I don't know what it was. I put it on my table and I wrote about it on social media, but when I come back it disappeared. So maybe I was misusing the gift by telling everyone about it. But I was going to put that into my Rife machine, because it'd be interesting metamorphosis, because like cocoons that go through a whole transformation, and you may be able to put something in there genetically, because they're in a bit more, it's like a soup, isn't it? And they're reorganising it, so you might be able to cause a greater influence, or the reverse of it, may be able to get more genetic information, because it's kind of like a hard drive of information. So what I'm doing is trying to connect to this being. It'd be the same as if I injected the spider's DNA directly into my bloodstream or something, but at a high level, because all of my DNA is going to be in contact with it, so it's kind of exchanging information. there may be some genes that we both share. That would be kind of like a way to interact. So yeah. Anyway, I'll leave you for now, and I'll speak to you soon.